Welcome to the Dragon's Den. My name is Leo Drake and thank you for spending part of your day with me. Please consider subscribing as it is free and allows us to talk about our favourite movies. If you enjoy the video, click the like button and ring the notification bell to be notified when I post a new video. In this video, we are discussing the Scream franchise. I will be talking about the movies during this video, so consider this your one and only spoiler warning. There are 6 movies in this list, so let's get to it.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Scream from 1996 is directed by Wes Craven, who helmed the first 4 movies in this franchise. The film starts with the killer calling a girl alone in her house. This film was made when people still talked on phones. Casey, played by Drew Barrymore, is stalked before seeing her boyfriend killed and then being bloodily murdered. This opening scene really sets the tone, is masterfully directed and hooks the audience. Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, attends the same school in Woodsboro as the murdered girl. A year earlier, her mother was raped and murdered by Cotton Weary, who is in prison for the crime. Reporter Gail Weathers, played by Courtney Cox, believes there is more to the story, and this latest murder brings a lot of media attention. Sidney soon gets a call from the killer.
You like scary movies, Sidney?
Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act.
The killer really hates being hung up on. He attacks Sidney in her home and she runs into the bedroom and locks the door. Sidney's boyfriend, Billy Loomis, whose last name comes from Dr. Samuel Loomis from Halloween, arrives on the scene through Sidney's window and is arrested. Sidney's father is away on business. After being harassed by Gail, she stays at a friend's house. Gail Weathers believes Cotton Weary is innocent. He admitted to sleeping with Maureen Prescott, but not killing her. One of my favourite things about the Scream franchise is during the middle of the movie, it turns into a mystery where you try and work out who the killer is, and the film does a really good job of making everyone look suspicious. Here, Sidney's father cannot be located, the principal is played by the Fonz, and the boyfriend are all possible suspects. Billy tries to reassure Sidney that he isn't the killer.
Formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
The police investigate with Deputy Dewey, played by David Arquette, assisting with the manhunt. The children deal with this terrible situation in their own way by having a big party, and film buff Randy explains the rules of engagement.
Instance number 1. You can never have sex. Number 2, you can never drink or do drugs. Under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
This casual making fun of the genre balances the movie's violent parts and makes it a fun experience for the audience.
But this is life. This isn't a movie.
My one slight critique of this film is that the ending is not great. All the characters are gathered together to discover the identity of Ghostface and stop him killing his main target, Sidney. Scream has a strong female lead and walks the line between spoof and parody really well. This movie is surprisingly good as a mystery and a horror film. I give Scream 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
Scream 2 was released the following year in 1997. In this film, we see a movie has been made based on the Woodsboro murders and the book written by Gail Weathers. It is called Stab, and a couple are killed while watching it in the movie theatre. Sidney is now in college, Cotton Weary has been released from prison, and the new murders bring fresh exposure to the small town. Sarah Michelle Gellar plays Cece, who is attacked and killed by Ghostface. The police, including Dewey, believe this is the work of a copycat killer after Sidney is attacked. Randy once again explains the rules of the film. 1. In a sequel, there is a higher body count. 2. More blood. 3. Never ever, under any circumstances, assume the killer is dead. This last rule is cut off in the film but revealed in the trailer. Sidney is being protected by two detectives. Cotton wants to make money from the interest surrounding the Woodsboro murders and asks Sidney for a TV interview. Sidney tries to focus on her college lectures and is performing as Cassandra in the play Troy. Of course, in Greek mythology, Cassandra warns of the future destruction of Troy, but no one listens. After Ghostface attacks Sidney and her roommate Ali, they are driven to safety by the detectives, who are killed by Ghostface. Only Sidney survives, and the mystery of who the killer might be intensifies. Again, the ending brings everyone together for the big reveal.
Get some work done.
Yeah, let's go get killed.
This is a successful sequel because it is very similar to the first film. Again, the ending is my least favourite part, but I would still give Scream 2 3.5 out of 5 stars. If I had to choose between Scream and Scream 2, I would probably just go for the original, but there is very little between them. If the franchise had managed to continue this level of quality throughout, it would really be up there in terms of all-time best horror franchises.
You're a genre nut, Kirby. What's your favorite scary movie?
Bambi.
Scream 3 from 2000 sees Cotton Weary on his way to Hollywood when he receives a call on his car phone. The killer threatens his girlfriend unless Cotton tells him where Sidney Prescott is. Sidney is living off-grid, offering women's counselling advice over the phone on a secure line. This movie centres around the filming of Stab 3, so it's a movie of a movie of a movie, and for me, that goes a little too far. The cast of Stab 3 start getting killed in the order they die in the script. The usual characters return, but I struggle to emphasise much with the actors playing the actors in Stab 3, who are targeted by the killer. We get the rules for a trilogy. 1. The killer being superhuman. 2. Anyone can die. 3. The past will come back to haunt them. A big part of this film revolves around Sidney's mother, as photos of her are left at the crime scene. We learn that Sidney's mother worked in Hollywood under a pseudonym for 2 years before settling down in Woodsboro. The killer takes Dewey and Gail hostage after working through the cast, luring Sidney out of hiding. The ending takes place at a Hollywood mansion, and for me this movie falls short of the previous two. By this point, the audience is looking for something a little different or original, and this film spoofs not just horror films, but Hollywood and how films are made, adding an extra layer that does not improve the action or drama. I give Scream 3 out of 5 stars.
I've seen this movie before.
Scream 4 came out in 2011, over a decade after the previous film. Sidney Prescott has written a self-help book and returns to Woodsboro on the last leg of her book tour. She is reunited with Gail Weathers and Sheriff Dewey, who are married, as well as her young cousin Jill. Unfortunately, Sidney's return to Woodsboro sees the murders start again, with Sidney and Jill targeted. Over at Kirby's house, played by Hayden Panettiere, Ghostface strikes again and Sidney arrives in time to protect Jill. I believe Scream 4 has the best final act in the franchise, the one area the first two movies struggled with. So does that make Scream 4 better? Unfortunately not, because the first two acts don't live up to the originals. That is why I give Scream 4 3 out of 5 stars. Scream from 2022 comes out another decade later, and for the first time a Scream film is not directed by Wes Craven, but instead helmed by Matt Bonelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. The first thing that annoys me about this movie is why isn't it called Scream 5? I could understand if it was a full reboot, But that's not the case, as it uses legacy characters, and the next film, made by the exact same people, is called Scream 6. What the hell is a requel? We get a familiar opening scene, and Sam Carpenter returns to Woodsboro as her sister Tara, played by Jenna Ortega, has been attacked. Sam confesses to Tara that Billy Loomis was her father. Sam's boyfriend Richie is played by Jack Quaid, making him immediately suspicious. Dewey is down on his luck after getting divorced, and he is no longer sheriff. He calls Sydney to warn her the murders have started again. Gail Weathers returns to cover the story. When things escalate, Sam and Richie plan to take Tara out of Woodsboro, but she has lost her inhaler, so they stop at Amber's house to retrieve it, where Ghostface attacks. Now, so far, I have been largely positive about this franchise. Scream 3 took a little dip, but otherwise I thoroughly enjoyed the other movies. However, I do not like this film for several reasons. Firstly, the legacy characters have nothing to do and feel like they are just there for nostalgia. Secondly, the motivation of the killers is extremely weak and leads to a disappointing ending. In truth, the biggest difference between this film and its predecessors for me is the director. I would rather watch Wes Craven's worst movie than the best movie directed by these guys. I give Scream from 2022 3 out of 5 stars, but it is definitely my least favourite film in the franchise.
Sequels suck.
Scream 6 comes out the following year in 2023, has the same directors and much of the same cast. I do like Jenna Ortega, but I was surprised we got a sequel to the previous film.
I have trust issues.
This movie is the first not set in Woodsboro, which I don't have a problem with, and instead the Carpenter sisters have moved to New York. I may be alone here, but I think this movie has the weakest opening act in the franchise, specifically relating to the first 30 minutes. Sam is being accused online of being the true killer. Sam and Tara are attacked by Ghostface on the street and run into a bodega to escape. The killer is leaving behind Ghostface masks with the DNA of the previous killers on them, and Kirby returns and is apparently now an FBI agent. Neve Campbell does not return as Sydney due to pay issues, but Courtney Cox does as Gail Weathers, and she takes everyone to an old movie theatre where the killer has a shrine to the Woodsboro murders, including lots of stolen memorabilia. The best scene in this movie by far is when the killer calls Gail Weathers directly for the first time.
How's that for nostalgia, fucker?
The group come up with a plan to trap Ghostface in the old movie theatre, which obviously goes wrong. As this is a sequel to Scream 2022, which I was not a big fan of, this movie did little for me. These last two films feel like an attempt to recreate the franchise while not adding anything new or living up to the previous standard, a bit like many current day movies. I give Scream 6 3 out of 5 stars. My advice is watch the original 4 Scream movies by Wes Craven and ignore these modern remakes which only dilute the franchise.
Who gives a fuck about movies?
What I like about Ghostface as a villain is he's creepy and easily recognisable with the franchise, but he's not ridiculously strong or powerful. He's just a regular guy in a costume. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of Scream down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, give it a like and share it. I'm looking to post a new video every Monday, so be sure to come back for that. And click the link on screen to watch another of my videos. Until next time, hoorah!